If you've ever worked in polymer clay, probably one of the first projects you did was to roll a ball of clay and make a bead or something similar. Today I have for you a simple but fun twist on simple rolled polymer clay beads. Applying flat shapes to your beads gives them so much dimension and interest, and the possibilities are endless. Hey there, creative people, Sandy here. Welcome to another polymer clay video at keepsakecrafts.net. Here I have in front of me just a few of these shape cutters that I have in my collection, and we are going to use a whole bunch of these to decorate polymer clay. Hello. He's eager to get started. And we are going to use a whole bunch of these to decorate polymer clay beads in a different kind of way. Here's a palette of polymer clay colors that I mixed up. If you want to learn more about this, I'm going to talk about it in the next Friday Findings video coming up. I'm going to show you how I used a really cool app on my phone and my tablet to capture this palette, and how I use just understanding principles of color to mix these colors. But I love them. They're kind of fallish, but they don't have the pumpkin-y oranges that we usually think of in a fall palette. So we'll set these aside for a moment. We're going to use those in a minute, but first we have to roll a base bead. You can make your base bead any shape, any size you want. I'm going to make mine a little big just so you can see it, kind of see the possibilities. So that's maybe, not quite 3/4 of an inch. I think I'll make it a little bit elongated. And now it's just a matter of choosing a shape cutter to apply shapes to your bead and stack them up. I just think this is such a fun concept. So let's start with some little diamonds. Let's see how many are going to fit around our bead. Once you make the cut, just take a moment and tap the edges with your finger to smooth out any ragged edges from the cuts, because these really won't get fixed later on. I'm going to place that right in the middle and kind of look down it, and it looks to me like I'll be able to fit 4 of those around. So place them on there lightly. Don't put them down too hard, because you might need to reposition in order to fit things evenly. Try to line up those points. Don't forget to clean up these edges. It doesn't get any easier after you add them to the bead, and they don't really look that good. So well, that's kind of cool. Oh, that one worked out well. And that's sort of fun, kind of a harlequin look bead. I didn't plan on that, I just was thinking the long, thin shape. Next, choose another cutter that's maybe a smaller size. Let's see. That's interesting, an oval, okay. Choose another color and cut more shapes. And that's really all this project is adding the shapes around your bead. And now for another one. Let's see, I love these little Kemper cutters. I think I'll just go with a circle, maybe a brown one. Oh, that's cool. I see, that's kind of a mess. One of the things I like to do is use this flower or the star and add kind of a bead cap on each end. I think that looks good. You can also use this if you're using a smaller shape and you want to space 6 or 3 around, then this shape would be very helpful in doing that, since it has 6 evenly spaced lobes. Or the same with the star, where it has 5. If you wanted to space something around 5 times. And it looks to me like we could use a circle. If you use the Kemper cutters and it makes a dent, of course just flip it over and use the other side. By the way, these sheets of clay are rolled out on the thinnest setting of the pasta machine. And I actually thought of stretching and rolling them a bit more to make them thinner, because you can see how just a few layers is adding quite a bit of dimension to the bead. Now you could, like on this one, I added little teardrops in those spaces in between. But you could also, let's see, use these smaller ones to just put a shape. And this fills in really nicely with paint when we antique it. Just hold it lightly in your hand as you do that. I think I want to put one more circle on the end, just to kind of emphasize that shape. What I got in there? Some kind of a thread. Is it a cat hair? That happens. Once you have all the shapes on your bead that you want, then you can add some texture. I have here a bent needle tool, which helps getting in to tight spaces. And also I have this little itty bitty ball tool. This is actually a tool that I got, it's part of a nail art set. And you can do several things. You can make dots in the centers. You can make line things with dots. Let's see. Actually, you can, I think I'll put a dot in the middle of each of those. That's cute. On your flower petals, you can put a dot. Just be mindful of how you're holding it in your other hand. Just try to, you gotta have enough of a hold so that you have something to press against, but not so much of a hold that you're totally smooshing your details. You can also do things with this needle tool. And I love the bent needle tool because I can get into that space. Just make lines. Oh, that looks cool. I like that. If you like my teaching and you would like to get more every month, you might consider checking out my Patreon page, because my patrons get up to 2 bonus tutorials every month. And carry on. You can also just line something with dots. Just adding texture and a place for our paint to hang out later on. This one I did 3 hearts going around. It was, I don't know if you can even tell, but those are 3 heart shapes. I put a circle on top and then a circle. Near the ends, I used the triangle cutter, but I had to cut off tips to make them shorter to fit them on here, and it made kind of a star pattern on those. You could just have a really good time going to town making very interesting beads. And when you're done, bake them and you can antique them. This was really what I had in mind, was this shabby chic look, antiquing them just with white paint. Just paint it in, make sure that you use a scruffy old brush and get the paint down into those details. Like on this one, let's see, I cut little squares, and so there's 4 of those going around. Added a couple layers, 3 layers of circles. I used an oval cutter to make these oval shapes, which I think looks really nice, in between each of them, and then added a teardrop. And when here I used the star, it doesn't matter that that's 5-pointed and there's 4 spaces going around. It works out just fine. You can really have just a great time playing looking at it, deciding what goes next, and when you're done, you can pierce it. These are kind of big, so you might probably want to pierce them before baking, but you can do it after. This is a doll needle. These are my favorite things for making bead holes. And I'm just twisting and lightly pushing. Of course, I'll finish texturing this before I bake it. Lightly push. When you feel like you're getting near where you want to come out, just hold it so that you're looking right at it. And twirl and push and keep your eyes right on that spot. Wow. Look at that. It's an eye-hand coordination thing. I don't understand how it works, but it usually does. That if you look right at that spot you want it to come out, it will come out. So once it starts to come out that end, just take the needle out and go back in the other end. You have your hole pierced. You can bake them, antique them. These are great in any colors, of course, any color combinations you want, any shapes, any sizes, rounds, barrels, ovals. If you are interested in learning how I made my little organizers for all of my clay cutters, I did make a video on that. If you go to the blog post, I will have a link to that there. You have fun with this idea. Take it, run with it, explore it, make yourself some great focal beads. Happy creating. Bye-bye.